almost wasn't here today. I was called for jury duty yesterday.
Oops.
Thanks for
I'd have come before they got you.
They excused me.
They excused you? I always get, you know what? I always call because I get excused almost every time. I gotta watch what I say, but I usually, it'll say, okay, call at 5 o'clock, and sometimes it'll say, call again tomorrow at 8. And I luck out, usually. Yeah.
They never choose me.
Oh, and they never choose me. After I sit there for days sometimes, that I never get chosen.
The first, all of a sudden when it says, anybody know a police officer? I go, yeah. I was a police officer, excused.
You're done. Yeah.
Or, do you know the judge? Yeah. The judge say, yes, indeed, I know, Bill.
I went in
Excused.
there and I did a story on the district attorney, so I wasn't allowed. I go, no, you're excused.
You're excused. It's funny.
All right. Like my grandmother, she went in there one time and said, could you be objective on this? Oh, no. I can't remember what the deal was. And I said, of course he's guilty. They arrested him, didn't they?
Okay.
You're gone.
Yeah, goodbye.
They wish they had a little more of that today.
Good morning. Welcome to the meeting of Wednesday, February 28th. 2 months gone out of this year already.
Crazy.
All right, we're going to get started with roll call, please.
Gong, Commissioner Gong is absent. Millies is absent. Elliott,
Here.
Diaz,
Here.
Whitlatch,
Here.
Tigliano,
Here.
Aguilar.
Here. And now if you can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, members of the public may comment on any item not appearing on the agenda. Under state law, matters presented under this item cannot be discussed or acted upon by the Planning Commission at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public will be invited to make comments at the time the item comes up for Planning Commission consideration. So that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak, any person addressing the Planning Commission may be limited at the discretion of the chair. At all times, please use the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone wishing to make a public comment? Yes.
Good morning. My name is Clint Sims. I'm Chief Deputy of the Resource Team for County Council. I will say my address as 2900 Beryl. I'm here today because I'm not sure the Planning Commission is aware that I announced my retirement. I've been with the county for over 30 years in various jobs, and it's kind of bittersweet. But I still have my health, and it's time to try something different like retirement. Some people say it's pretty good. That's the best job they ever had, so I'm going to... I wanted to come to you guys because when I came to County Council, this was probably my first gig, really. Some of you guys were there when I are still here when I started, and it may have been troubling for you at times, and it may have been troubling for me at times. But this is where I got my start. RMA is where I got my start, and it has been a real pleasure and an honor being or serving the public and doing this. And again, it's somewhat bittersweet, but I think it's time for me to move on, and you guys can get to see Jennifer even more, which I think you prefer.
Thank you.
thank you very much. That's,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sid, are you really retiring, or are you gonna do something else?
well, Saturday was the first day I said I was practicing retirement. And I did, besides going to the gym, I did absolutely nothing but watch sports on television. And
That's a job.
so good.
So good.
So cool. I mean, my alma mater, Creighton, beat Villanova, and I was like, oh yeah, this is.
It's a sign.
I'm going to decompress for a while. I may volunteer. I don't know what the road's going to be. I may volunteer with stuff. I don't know. I may try and get a job as extra help back here, but you know they may not want me. I just don't know. But it was like, yeah, it's time. The decompression is.
That's important. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
We'll see. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Enjoy it.
So in 30 years, we can do the same with Jennifer. Any other public comment? Record indicate that Commissioner Gong is present. Okay, then we shall continue. Next, we have the approval of minutes of the January 24th meeting.
Make a motion that we approve those minutes as presented.
I second that motion.
Roll call.
Gong,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Diaz,
Yes.
Whitlatch,
Yes.
Vitigliano,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes. All right, now we're ready for work. First, we have the consent calendar. All actions on all items in this section will be taken with one motion and vote, unless anyone wishing to discuss any one of these items requests that it be pulled from the consent calendar and held over for such discussion. The consent calendar is an untimed item and may be taken up at any time during the course of today's meeting as time allows. We have an extension of time on T.C. Mosher, and we have an extension of time on Jill Tardif. Is there anyone wishing to speak on these?
Through the chair, this is a consent calendar item.
So we just
Make a motion.
make a motion to...
Unless anybody has anything to say, take a vote.
Sorry about that.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consent calendar as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Gong,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Diaz,
Yes.
Whitlatch,
Yes.
Vitigliano,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes. All right, we move on to the parcel map public hearings. Actions on all parcel maps in this section of the agenda will be heard in one public hearing unless anyone wishing to discuss any one of these items requests that it be pulled for separate public hearing. No staff presentation will be given on any items unless requested. In any case, there will be a separate vote on each of these items. Is there anyone wishing to pull any of these items? Seeing none, then we'll go ahead and vote on each one. So we have
Through the chair,
Tentative.
public hearing. Oh, open.
well, I'm all man. You miss one meeting and it's all over.
It's okay. I mean, you asked if there were comments, and that's similar to opening a public hearing. We can officially open the public hearing now.
And we'll close open the public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak? No, then we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Now we're ready to make a motion on each item.
I'll make a motion to approve a categorical exemption consistent with CEQA and the state CEQA guidelines pursuant to Title 14, California Code Regulations, Section 15303, Class 3, pertaining to new construction or conversion of small structures and conditionally approved tentative parcel map PPM 17-042 with a final map waiver.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Gong,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Whitlatch,
Yes.
Tigliano,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes. We have item B.
I'll make a motion, we approve category exemption consistent with the California Environmental Quality Act and the state CEQA guideline pursuant to Title 14 California Code Regulation, Section 15303, Class 3, pertaining to a new construction or conversion of small structures and conditionally approved tentative partial map number PPM 17-046 and waiver of final map.
Roll call?
Gong,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Whitlatch,
Yes.
Tigliano,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes. Oh, there was also item C, I'm sorry. Oh, that's an additional one.
We forgive you because it's tax season, so.
I'll make the motion to approve a categorical exemption consistent with CEQA and the state CEQA guidelines pursuant to Title 14, California Code Regulations, Section 15303, Class 3, pertaining to new construction or conversion of small structures and conditionally approved tentative parcel map PPM 17-049 and waiver of a final map.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Gong,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Whitlatch,
Yes.
Tigliano,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes. Okay, now we move on to public hearing on zone change for PZC 17-013, Espinosa, Duval, Fabian, and Esperanza Espinosa LLC. It's up to you now.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioner. This is a zone change, PZC 17-013 for Duval Espinosa. And this request is a change of zone from the AE20 zone, which is an exclusive agricultural zone, to the C2 zone, which is general commercial. The site contains a restaurant. The applicant acquired the property in 2016, unaware that the restaurant was out of compliance with the zoning. And when he came into the permit center to obtain an ABC license, it was noted that the permitted fruit stand had expanded into a full Mexican restaurant. A code violation was issued for the operation of a restaurant in an agricultural zone. The applicant has submitted documentation to the RMA that environmental health permit to operate a restaurant at the site was issued to them. Since learning of the code violation, the applicant has been proactive in applying for this change of zone. And the site is located on the southwest corner of Avenue 256 and Road 204, which is south of Exeter. And this is the vicinity map showing the location of the project. Okay. And this is the aerial photograph. And to the side here is a Google shot of the restaurant here that has expanded, fruit stand that has expanded. This is the existing zoning. This is a small 2.71 acre parcel. The parcel in red to the southeast is zoned M2, which is heavy manufacturing, and there are two more parcels that are farther south that are zoned M1, which is also a manufacturing zone. With regard to general plan Consistency, when the property is not located within an urban boundary, the subject site is required to undergo a detailed evaluation through the Rural Valley Lands Plan parcel evaluation process in order to determine the agricultural viability of the site. And this parcel is less than 5 acres, which is considered the minimum size for agricultural viability. And as such, this parcel received 8 RVLP points, indicating that the site may be considered for non-agricultural zoning. This is the proposed ordinance map illustrating the C2 zone on this 2.71 acre site. This is the site plan that was submitted with the application. There is an orchard on the southern part of this site, which is for the applicant's personal use. And this is RMA's recommendation to the Planning Commission that you recommend that the Board of Supervisors take the following action, which is to approve zone change number PZC 17-013 to change the zone designation from AE20 to C2 on a 2.71 acre assessor parcel number 141010027. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Questions for Dana?
Didn't we approve across the street, and they never did it, a feed store?
Yes,
Was
on the
that
north
permit-
side of
Is that
Avenue
still-
256.
Does that go with the land, or is it after a certain amount of time?
It would go with the land, but they were out of compliance, and they really just chose to close down that feed store at least 5 years ago, I think.
So the feed store couldn't open up again?
It could if they wanted to bring the site back into compliance.
Oh, I see. Okay. And would this also encourage more growth on that site?
This zone change?
Yes.
Well, I suppose they could.
Through the chair, I just wanted to say on behalf of the applicant, they've entered into a improvement agreement with the county for their frontage improvements and to actually give us some right-of-way in exchange for this zone change. The county wanted originally a signal at that area, but it couldn't meet the warrant studies. I'm accurate in that because they don't necessarily have the volumes or the incidences to do such a thing. So your question is if this is growth inducing or not, or if this is going to expand at this site. These people bought this restaurant in anticipation of just doing a restaurant. It is possible, but given the growth rates for that area and the traffic generation from that area, we don't anticipate seeing growth for any time soon.
I don't see how you can have any more traffic, because it's a major, Spruce is a major just by itself.
It's huge.
And even by itself, it didn't.
It needs a light.
But it didn't meet warrant now. So that's if engineering studies don't indicate that it needs a light now, and we wanted this, it's not going to probably happen for at least a little while.
But they have dedicated the land.
They have given up some of the right of way in anticipation for expansion right there.
Dana, excuse me. Dana, can you go back to the, I think it's the Google picture there? How big is that building?
Pretty good size.
It looks big. Am I just,
Did they, I remember when we permitted that fruit stand there.
Well, fruit stands are allowed in agricultural zones without.
Yeah, they were allowed, so that wasn't an issue. Now, who built the restaurant? Did the applicant build it?
Previous owner
Previous owner just built it. And then-
expanded the fruit stand into the restaurant
Oh, so without a permit.
without permits, but they got health permits from the health department.
Well, so this is bringing this project into compliance, and the applicant's really going beyond and actually going to rezoning. And it does make sense for that area, given the surrounding zoning, including industrial zoning to the south. So it's not spot zoning. And you can look right around that corner right there that there is existing development. So it makes more sense to have a commercial location here, especially for such a successful restaurant. than to either deny or go backwards.
Is that Waterman Industry that's,
Yes,
are
right
they still
across.
operating? Well, that provides a service there. That's less miles, because those people for lunch or something, they'd either have to bring their lunch or go downtown.
Oh, I think there's Helena Chemical right out there too, right? I think it's right
So
there.
I think it could provide a benefit out there
Service.
on less miles driven to,
Been there a while already.
does it?
Well, if you don't,
Oh, yeah.
if you don't have a restaurant out there, you're gonna have the food trucks anyway. They're gonna be all over the place, so.
Right.
And there still are some, but my question would be, if it wasn't built with a permit, is the building up to code to serve the public?
It was built with permits. So yes, it
Oh,
is
with
up
building permits, then it
to,
was?
was built with permits. So it's up to code. It was just in violation of the zoning.
Zoning.
Okay.
Gil, maybe you can help me out, but I think it's birria, goat, beer, is that correct
Well,
pronunciation?
birria. Some people make it with goat. but
They
not
make it.
everybody.
It's really
They
good.
do.
Very
They
good.
do make goat.
You ever have goat?
Okay, so at this time, we will open the public comment. If somebody wishes to speak on this project, this is your time to come forward and please state your name and address. No one? Then we will close the public comment and we will take it up for consideration and a vote.
I'll make the motion to recommend to the Board of Supervisors approve a categorical exemption consistent with CEQA and California CEQA guidelines, Title 14 California Code, Regulations, Section 15301, Class 1 pertaining to existing facilities, and recommend to the Board of Supervisors approve zone change number PZC 17-013.
I second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Gong,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
Whitlatch,
Yes.
Tigliano,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes. Motion has passed, and we shall continue with the special use permits. For AT&T, there's three of them, PSP 17-073, 17-074, and 17-5.
All right.
Was I
This
too
is-
fast, or was I too fast for you?
Yes. Took a while for me to catch up. So these are categorical exemptions and special use permits, number PSP 17-073, 074, 075 for AT&T. These are the hearing notification maps. These projects were all noticed according to the law, and no comments have been received. These are the vicinity maps. Site number 1, PSP 17-073, located at 9599 Avenue 88 on the southwest corner of the intersection of Avenue 88 and Road 96 southwest of Pixley. Site number 2, PSP 17074, located approximately 1,300 feet south of Avenue 16, between roads 104 and 120, which is north of Delano. And site number 3, PSP 17-075, is located on the east side of Road 156, approximately 630 feet north of the County Line Road, and that's also north of Delano. These projects are all categorically exempt from CEQA, pursuant to Title 14, Section 15303, Class 3, pertaining to new construction or conversion of small structures. Entitlement for these projects is found in Section 16.2B of Ordinance Number 352, which allows radio, microwave, and television towers in all zones, subject to approval of a special use permit when the tower is over 75 feet high. These projects are all located in the Rural Valley Lands Plan, the land use element of the general plan, and the land use is valley agriculture for these sites. The projects were found to be consistent with these general plan policies. This is the site plan for PSP 17-073, and this is the one that's southwest of Pixley. The site plan for PSP 17-074, which is north of Delano. And this is PSP 17-075, the site plan, which is just north of County Line Road and also north of Delano. And these projects are all very similar to the ones that have come before. They're on portions of parcels that are in agricultural zones, and this is what I am requesting. Planning Commission approve categorical exemptions for each of these separately in separate motions. First one would be PSP 17-073, and then 74 and 75 in all separate motions. And that concludes my presentation.
On 073, on the dairy site, could you put up the location of the tower, where the tower is going to be located? It's 074 there.
Oh, and I'm pushing the button and it doesn't want
Okay,
to
there you go.
go.
Down, I see, it looks like it's down in the lower left-hand corner of the parcel. Is that correct?
Where it looks like it is.
And I'm looking, and then,
Let's look at the map. Yes, it's in the southwest corner of
Okay.
that parcel.
could you put up now the aerial photograph?
Forward or backward?
Let's go back now.
I know, let's just button until I... Do I have an aerial photograph in there?
Yep.
Well,
Page 47.
can't find it here.
Yeah.
Ask a question.
Looks
Looks
like
like
it's,
it's not in the PowerPoint presentation.
It is in the
but as
PowerPoint, but it's
indicated
not.
by Commissioner Pagano, it's on page 47.
Yeah, okay. Look on page 47 then, guys. From what I can see here, that tower is going to be right at the lagoon, or in it, or next to it.
well, it looks like it's in the calf pens, to mine.
Or they're going to put it clear up there.
Well, that's what it looks like.
Well, that's where it's pointing to, but that's not where it shows up, I don't believe. If you're looking at the Exhibit A, overall site plan, it's right against the property line.
What page is that?
That's on page, how many pages? I don't put my glasses on so I can see.
46,
46?
where it says Avenue 88.
Yeah. I mean,
Not 46.
49, I'm sorry. I had to put my glasses on.
Okay.
The applicant can address the question
Okay,
if you open.
all right.
Well, are there any other questions for Daniel? We can open up the.
I just have one quick question. Is this all part of the AT&T's or the federal government's plan to improve internet access for
Underprivileged?
rural communities?
Yes, it is.
These are good things.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily against this thing. I just need some
I
clarification.
do it again. I just wanted, I think it was part of that program.
Let's go ahead and open the public hearing, and we
Maybe
can
they can
have
answer
the
this.
applicant answer some of these questions.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commission members. My name is Larry Hopi, representing AT&T Wireless. Address is 5220 Valverde Road, Loomis. The aerial photograph, page 47, where it's showing the site is not the correct location. The location is down below the lagoon, kind of close to the property line.
Right towards the property line, okay,
Yeah.
I understand that.
The
Okay,
drawing is correct, and the
my
location.
my question is, that ground where that lagoon there might be very well saturated, and it might not be stable over the years of usage as settling. Well, it doesn't settle much because it's sealed pretty much, but there's going to be some moisture in a very close area, and you get a 100-foot tower on that thing there, and it doesn't take much of a lean to get that thing to start moving. Is there means to address that issue?
Absolutely. Yeah, we are about 20 to 30 feet away from that lagoon, but for any site that we build, we do a geotechnical investigation where we come out and we drill the soil to get the soil types, and then the foundation for the tower is based on, the design is based on the soil conditions.
Okay,
so if it comes back and it's a soft soil, we might go to a spread footing or a deeper caisson or something, but that is absolutely something addressed in the engineering phase.
All right, and I knew there would be, but I wanted to make sure it was going to be addressed, because that ground's could be softer there than some of the others.
Absolutely.
Because as you know, what gets through there, it goes a plume like this from below that, and so anyway, you guys got it under control.
Thank you. Any other questions?
What's your name?
Larry Hopi.
Larry Opie?
All right, thank you.
I don't know
I
if you
do
mentioned
just
it.
have one more question. On the Delano site on Road 156 and County Line, no one has mentioned anything about maybe putting something on that pole. I mean, that's in a more residential area than all of the other ones.
You're talking about 75?
Yes, 75, PSP 17-075. It's a residential area. We keep saying we wish we had distinct criteria for this.
I know, and we need that from staff.
We don't, so I'm just bringing the question up. It is right there. So the others are quite out by themselves, but
Like it's a long ways from the residential site-wise, but
If you-
I'm not familiar with it, so.
Yeah, it's farther than the ones in Visalia, that's for sure.
just a question.
Yeah, so there are some residentials. The residentials are more on Road 156. As you can see on the map, we're on the far, I guess that would be
For the
east
record,
side of the
that's
parcel,
page,
backing up to all the
59.
orchards.
Page 59.
Yes, page
Yeah, I'm sorry, page
59.
59. So the site is located towards the back end of the parcel, and like I said, it's the adjoining parcels to the south is a nursery and a lot where they rent out spaces to park trucks. But like I said, all the residences are focused on Road 156, which is, significantly more than 1,000 feet away.
Okay, that was my question. It looked like it was right there. Of course, aerials are very deceiving.
Exactly. All right,
Throw it
thank you.
out there.
I think one thing we can do, and this is a recommendation for staff, is at least put that out there when the applicant comes forward with this and see if they want to do something voluntarily. We don't necessarily have to require it. There should be a protocol when we're in residential areas like this. It's obvious in that one like Elderwood where the neighbor came forward, A lot of times in these situations, I don't think people know that they can really make a suggestion of that kind. So I think we ought to put that out to the applicant. It doesn't have to be required, but it should be offered at any rate, some sort of criteria on aesthetics.
These are three wonderful locations. They,
Yeah, and we know they need the
huge need out
service.
there. Yes, they need the service.
And through the chair, whenever we do believe there would be any opposition, or if it is a more environmentally sensitive area, we do suggest to the applicants that they do that just to defray any issues. So this, because of its distance away from that residential area,
There's no trees around there.
and that it would stick out a little bit like a sore thumb. We didn't make that offering, but we have Elderwood, and we have, and they did that on their own volition, and they also did a similar one in Springville, so, or near Springville. So we do offer that to them. But we'll keep that in mind and make it more clear in the future.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak on this project? And we will close the public hearing and move on to a recommendation. There's three different ones on here, so we'll have a vote on each one.
I'll make the first motion. We approve categorical exemption consistent with CEQA and state CEQA guidelines pursuant to Title 14 Cal Code Regulations, Section 15303, Class 3, pertaining to new construction and conversion of small structures, and conditionally approve special use permit PSP 17-073.
I'll second that one.
Roll call?
Long,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Whitlatch,
Yes.
Vigliano,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes. Second one, which is PSP 17074.
I'll make a motion to approve a categorical exemption consistent with CEQA and state CEQA guidelines pursuant to Title 14, California Code Regulations, Section 15303, Class 3, pertaining to new construction or conversion of small structures, and conditionally approve special use permit number PSP 17-074.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call?
Long,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Whitlatch,
Yes.
Vigliano,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes. And the third one, which is PSP 17-075.
I make a motion that we approve a categorical exemption consistent with the California Environmental Quality Act and the state CEQA guidelines pursuant to Title 14 California Code Regulations, Section 15303, Class 3, pertaining to new construction or conversion of small structures, and conditionally approve special use permit number PSP 17-075.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Long,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Whitlatch,
Yes.
Vigliano,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes. All three have passed. And, I would probably make one small recommendation. To me, the second one was Allensworth, and especially when we're looking at improving these sites for the rural, I think it would have been nicer to say this is near the community of Allensworth rather than Kern County, Delano. But just a
All right.
recommendation.
We'll take that into my next presentations.
And I know what cell phone reception is like in Allensworth. Trust me. All right,
I guess
so
it's
we
going to
move
be
on.
improved soon.
Move on to the director's report.
One question before the applicant goes. When does it look like this will be installed?
The towers themselves? Yes. Obviously, we gotta go through the building permit process, so it's, we're probably looking at third quarter this year.
Good.
The
Bring a lot of people.
director's report. My Mike Washam unfortunately cannot be here today. I'm Aaron Bach, Chief Planner with the Tulare County Resource Management Agency. What I did want to update the commission on is we did finally release Goshen. And
Got the memo.
Mr. Whitledge does say that the previous staff person who released Goshen had a stroke. Fortunately, I only burst some blood vessels in my eye. So we are moving forward very vigorously. We anticipate coming before you unless there is any comments from anybody. We're hopefully worked out all our issues with the city of Visalia. Sometime at the beginning of April, and then we're hoping to get to the board at the very latest in June, anticipating at least some comments, if not before then. As we've stated before, the LAMP project, as it is, was approved, and we anticipate the guidelines coming forward for that as well. So probably within the next couple months, we'll at least begin looking at that very seriously, on a project-by-project basis. The Three Rivers Community Plan is in the midst of it, and I'll let Hector talk about the extended, he doesn't want to, but the extended deadline for CEQA. We anticipate going back up there next Monday. Yes. Monday at 7? Yes. At 7 o'clock to readdress the community of Three Rivers.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock now. 7?
Don't be late.
I think the last time we saw was 7, but we will post the absolute accurate time on our website.
Location is?
At the
Building.
Memorial Building.
Our regular town meeting.
What's that?
It's our regular town meeting.
Yeah,
So
regular
it's the
town
first Monday of the month.
So we also have 3 larger projects moving forward, what we call the Qualls project. We anticipate getting that to you here shortly. The Hash project, the Kingsburg subdivision project, that's part within the city of Kingsburg. The city did conditionally approve a memorandum of understanding. So we've crossed that first hurdle, and so now there'll probably be a big push to get that project in front of you. And the third project, the Sequoia Gateway, is also moving forward right along Caldwell. So we're hoping to get a breath of fresh air sometime in December, but maybe next year. So we're still moving forward pretty hard. And we also began work on Cutler Rossi, at least internally, Cutler Rossi, Poplar Cotton Center, and Ivanhoe. So those are our 3 next big community plans we're going to be working on.
Aaron, how much of Kingsburg is in their urban development boundary?
You mean all of it, or the
Is it
whole
all
project's in the urban UDB? It's also within their sphere of influence.
So is there reluctance on their part, or is it some,
Well, like I
they
said,
can't annex it, or?
It's been suggested and discussed as far as, do we move the county boundary lines around, and this decision to move forward as it was the most reasoned decision. And the city did just conditionally approve the MOU, so I think they're on board with how the structure of this project is going to work. Most of the services and funding is going to be delivered by and to the city, and it's incidental at that point. It's going to walk and talk like a city project, but it's just incidental. It's going to be in the county, but we're the ones who are going to do the entitlements. So
Do they give fire and police protection then in that agreement?
that hints to the MOU, and that'll be brought forth to the Planning Commission, all the details, and that's our next stop.
It's just on the other side of the other development that's there, right? I mean,
There's existing development, to the north, to the northwest. I mean, it's part of the city, really.
Aaron, did I read in the paper that Valley Children's is going to try to develop Caldwell in 99?
That's the Sequoia Gateway project I just told you about. That's been it's risen up in the priorities for our staff, so that's anticipated to go there.
Are we going to have an airport land use commission meeting or not?
We are going to have one, definitely for Goshen Community Plan, and potentially on these other projects as they impact the ALUP for the airport.
So as the chair, could I request a hearing on Caldwell in 99? Does that embarrass you?
No, it does not embarrass me. I think that's appropriate and duly noted. So that's the news I have, unless you want to add anything, Hector?
I'd like to add something. Just, y'all probably already know about this, but if you remember Dollar General outside of Springville, the court just came down with its ruling. The local trial court came down with its ruling this past week. Unfortunately, they agreed with the petitioners that a full EIR should have been done rather than a mitigated negative deck. So they vacated the board's decision and want staff to do a full EIR. I don't personally know if Embry Asset Group is going to continue to pursue this project. RMA staff may have more info on that, but just so you know, that's what has happened most recently.
Well, through the chair, and to actually clarify some of the finer points of that ruling by the court, they ruled that, one, it was not segmentation, either for parceling out the 1 acre lot and or for anticipated future growth on that site. Two, they did rule that there was no cumulative effects that needed to be studied, so there wasn't an EIR required on that basis. Also, they did agree there was no bias, that there was no, that the decision was made properly, there was no abuse of discretion for that purpose, that there was a full and fair due process hearing, including the appeal. They did decide on two factors, one being water, even though we had a will serve letter and we went to the extra length to actually get the capacity and demand numbers from the water district. The court felt that there was a fair argument presented by opposition because they said that they had to use bottled water sometimes and sometimes boil their water. So that was the fair argument the court ruled on as to why the water study was not sufficient. The other thing was that there was potential blight, economic distress caused by this project because Brad Dunlap, as a planner, had said so. So that was expressed as a fair argument. So on those two bases, the judge did decide that an EIR should have been provided, not because of piecemealing, not because of cumulative effects, not because of bias, but because water was not fully studied based on the fair arguments, and that there was potential distress based on a fair argument. So from what I've discussed so far with Embry's, they do want to move. They do want to move forward. So I don't know if that's going to change, but they definitely don't see why they'd want to stop. And staff is in agreement that they could move forward, and to actually resort to an EIR at this point wouldn't be too difficult in the court's ruling.
And that is all. The final ruling still needs to come down. That's based on the tentative ruling, which is something the court issues before oral argument is heard finally. So there may be some tweaks in that, but that's pretty much, surprisingly, the issues were two issues that neither Planning Commission nor the board weren't really a big deal in front of the Planning Commissioner board. I don't know if you remember that, compared with some other big things like segmentation and, that sort of thing.
And blight.
Yes, well, the way fair argument works generally is if it's something a common person can discern, let's say too many cars, the judge usually gives deference. That person doesn't necessarily have to be an expert. It's something subjective, smells, things like that. But usually when it comes down to blight, they do like to see, like the Walmart cases, they do like to see the economic studies by the experts in opposition before they'll say any common person can make that determination. I think they gave Brad Dunlap some deference here because he was the planning director for Porterville, that when he said that was possible. And they used some cases, the inn that wasn't there anymore. I mean, nothing that has anything to do with Dollar General to base their ruling on. So, like I said, to move forward with an EIR at this point, staff does not believe would be too difficult.
I have, kind of a financial interest, but just speaking on Dollar Generals in general, we see wherever they go in Tulare County, they bring nice additions to that community. I don't know about Springville. I can't comment on that. But
Well, was he referring to the blight that it would cause in Springville itself and affect?
Well, like I said, it was an interesting argument because it's talking about blight that would occur in Springville, but they use instances of existing blight, not anticipated blight. So, like I said, the fair argument's a pretty weak threshold, and once they said he was a potential expert, I guess, that it became a fair argument to make. So it's just basically telling us we need to study those things. And it's interesting, too, with the will serve letter, if a irrigation or water district says they have the water, generally we don't and rarely ever question that. We went to the extra level to actually get the numbers. It's hard to get out of the irrigation or the water district. So the fact that they didn't look at that and said that people have bottled water at times, and as Zach just made the point before, it's not necessarily water quantity, it's sometimes for water quality, depending on the blending levels. We think the threshold was very low in this case.
I guess that's what organized opposition can lead to.
That's right.
Tangle it up in the courts.
That's right.
I had one question, Aaron, too, about, I don't know if you heard the news, but it snowed this week. So in Three Rivers, we have a winter industry that's generated from tire chains. And we have several existing buildings that have offered, or businesses that have offered tire chains for years. All of a sudden, we have these informal tire chains entrepreneurs popping up with an awning by the side of the highway and renting tire chains. Now, obviously, they're not paying county taxes or don't really have a permit to operate. Or what is the regulation for folks to do that? Is that legal to do?
Just in the general roadways as far as county regulations?
Well, they ask the property owner, and I'm sure they're on private property. But the point is, they're undercutting the businesses that have offered these for years and have special use permits and pay all pay all their taxes in terms of the sales. So how does that work with these ones that just pop up for a few weeks, seasonally, let's say?
Well, and staff can look into that and report back to you.
Yeah, I'd really appreciate that, because I've had a lot of people that own the businesses asking, is that legal to do in Three Rivers?
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of these use permits. I mean, commercial in nature, and/or if they are on zoned commercial lands versus people who are like fruit stands, just
Right.
selling temporarily, which we also require permits for, as long as they don't transition into restaurants.
Well, I'd appreciate an answer back on that.
Yes,
if you can find
definitely
out.
next planning commission.
Hopefully the snow will continue.
Anything else? No one else? A couple weeks. Okay. 14th, huh?
By the way, Wayne is doing really well, but